Hey there. We're diving deep today. You asked us to unpack heroin rehab, and wow, did you give us some incredible material.
Right, this is some seriously eye-opening stuff. We've got to hand it to you.
Yeah, it really digs deep, and one of the first things that jumped out was how it defines heroin rehab itself. It's not just about the place, is it? It's more like a whole process. Yeah,
Huge point. So important to get that because, yeah, people think, oh, rehab, go somewhere for a bit, done. But it's really about, well, everything else, right? Like getting to the root of why addiction took hold, not just stopping the drug use itself.
totally. It's like hitting reset, not just putting a Band-Aid on things. And speaking of different approaches, this source talks about all these rehab types. Inpatient, outpatient, even something called a partial hospitalization program, which honestly sounds a little intimidating.
Yeah, that one's got layers. But it highlights how rehab is tailored, not one size fits all. Like, take someone who's tried quitting alone, it hasn't stuck, their addiction's really severe. For them, inpatient's probably going to be the best bet, right?
Makes sense, like 24/7 support, removes temptations, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Full immersion, away from all the triggers, lets them really dig deep without distractions. But then you've got someone who's holding down a job, maybe has family they can't just leave, or they really value their independence. Outpatient might be the way to go there.
So it's more flexible.
Totally. Still getting the professional help, the therapy, learning those coping mechanisms, but it fits around their life. It's about
Yeah.
balance.
Right, finding that sweet spot. Each recovery is its own thing, just like each person.
Couldn't agree more. And, thinking about the good that comes from rehab, it goes way beyond just ditching the drug. Like the ripple effects are huge.
Yeah. This source lays out some pretty amazing stuff. Lower risk of those infectious diseases, fewer overdoses, even better chances at holding down a job and having healthier relationships, which, wow.
Talk about reclaiming your life, right? Look, it's
MTR.
concrete stuff too, not just vague ideas. Like heroin addiction, sadly, often goes hand in hand with sharing needles. Rehab gets you clean, but also that's a chance for medical care, maybe preventing something like HIV or Hep C. That's massive for long-term health.
Absolutely. It's like
Yeah.
this whole other layer people might not even consider. Rehab isn't just fixing the addiction, it's fixing all these other parts of your life that get messed up because of it. Pretty remarkable when you see how many people really turn things around this way.
It really is. I mean, it takes a lot of guts to ask for help in the first place. So seeing them not just recover, but thrive afterwards, that's powerful stuff.
Okay, so we've talked about like the different rehab flavors out there and the awesome stuff that can come from it. But what about actually going through it? What's that whole experience really like?
Right. You got to know what you're getting into. So this source walks us through the typical steps, and usually it kicks off with a really in-depth assessment.
Like doctor's office vibes, figure out what's up before they make a plan.
Exactly. They want to know your medical history, how bad the addiction is, any mental health stuff going on, and, big one, your own goals for recovery, right? Makes it personal.
Gotcha. So then detox time.
Yep. Often the next step. And this source is all about medically supervised detox, which, for good reason. Heroin withdrawal, not fun, can even be risky if you're going it alone. Having medical pros there makes a huge difference.
Keeps things as smooth as possible during those rough early days.
You got it. They can use meds to help with cravings, minimize how crappy you feel while your body's doing its thing, lets you actually focus on the mental and emotional side of things.
Makes it less scary for sure.
Totally. And once you're through detox, that's when the real work starts. Therapy time.
Right. And this source throws around a bunch of types. Cognitive behavioral therapy, contingency management, family therapy. It's like a whole therapy buffet. How do you even know what's what with all that?
It's about finding the right tool for the job, yeah. Each one tackles a different angle of addiction. Say you're battling cravings like crazy, right? Contingency management, that can mean setting small goals, totally doable stuff like making it to a support group. Every time you hit it, bam, reward. Makes you want to keep going.
Positive vibes all the way.
You know it. Now maybe it's your headspace that's a struggle, those thoughts, I'll never kick this, or I'm a failure, that kind of thing. CBT, that's your jam. Helps you catch those thoughts and flip the script, make them more realistic, more helpful.
It's like retraining your brain,
Oh.
which that's powerful stuff.
Real. And then there's family therapy, because addiction, it doesn't just mess with you, right? It's a whole family affair. This gives everyone a safe space to talk it out, mend fences, learn how to communicate better without all that baggage.
Everybody on the same team fighting for recovery together.
Exactly. And we can't forget medications like methadone. The source brings those up too.
Right, right. Where do those fit in?
So medications like that, methadone, buprenorphine, naltrexone, they can be lifesavers, especially early on. They kind of dial down those cravings, block the high you'd get from heroin, makes saying no a whole lot easier.
Takes the edge off so you can actually function and work on the bigger picture.
Nailed it. But, gotta stress, meds aren't some magic solution. They're one piece of the puzzle. You
Yeah.
still need the therapy, the support, gotta make those lifestyle changes too. It's a combo deal.
So you've got all this support, the meds, the therapy, that's huge. But like once you're ready for rehab, how do you even pick a place? This source makes a big deal about them not all being equal.
Oh, for sure. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. This source, though, it gives some good pointers. Number one, accreditation. That's got to be on your checklist.
Accreditation, huh? Break that down for me.
Think of it like a stamp of approval. You've got organizations like CARF, that's the Commission on Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities. They're the big dogs. They set the bar high, right? Staff got to be top-notch. Treatment programs got to be legit, whole 9 yards. If a place is accredited, it means they're walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Okay, so it's like a quality guarantee, which when it's something this important, that's a load off your mind.
You got it. Another thing to look for, are they using what's called evidence-based approaches? Basically, that means the stuff they're doing, the therapy, whatever, it's backed by science, not just some guy's hunch, but actual research that proves it works.
Makes sense. You want to know you're getting something that's actually going to help.
100%. But here's the thing. Beyond all the practical stuff, gotta make sure it's the right fit for you. Does this rehab center, do their values vibe with yours? Your beliefs, all that. You got to be comfortable.
Right, because recovery is personal.
Yeah.
Right. You don't need to feel judged on top of everything else. It should feel supportive, like they're on your side.
Totally. Don't be afraid to like grill them a little, you know, what's their whole deal, their treatment style, what are their staff's credentials? You want to feel good about the people you're trusting with this.
It's like finding a therapist. You got to click.
Speaking of things that can make or break the deal, this source doesn't shy away from it. Cost. Rehab ain't cheap. Yeah, no sugarcoating it. It can be a hurdle. But this source gives some solid advice on handling that side of things. Insurance, that's your first stop. Lots of plans cover at least part of rehab.
Good to know.
And even if insurance is a no-go or doesn't cover everything, a lot of places have payment plans, sliding scales based on how much you make, even loans. Just be upfront about your situation, see what they can do.
It's like got to get rid of those roadblocks so you can prioritize getting healthy. It's an investment, you know, in yourself.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And speaking of investments, got to prep for the mental and emotional side of rehab too, not just the practical stuff.
Totally. And this source had some great tips for that. It's like any big change, you got to set yourself up for success.
For sure. Biggest one, build that support network. Tell your people what's up, let them know how to help, and don't be afraid to lean on them. You don't got to go through this alone.
It's true. Like they say, it takes a village sometimes. Having that crew in your corner makes all the difference.
No doubt. And just as important as that outside support is the stuff you do for you. This source is big on self-care, mindfulness, journaling, just getting out in nature, anything that keeps you grounded when things get tough.
Give yourself the best shot at making this stick.
Ugh.
Wow, okay, we covered a lot. From the types of rehab to the good stuff that comes out of it, the actual steps you go through, how to pick a place, money stuff, even getting in the right headspace. This source was seriously thorough.
It really was. Drives home that rehab's not one size fits all. It's got to be tailored to you.
100%. So as we wrap up here, anything you want to leave our listener with to chew on based on all this?
You know, the big takeaway, for me at least, is this. Asking for help with heroin addiction, that ain't weakness. That's strength, pure and simple. Takes guts to admit you need support, even more to go after it.
So powerful. And hey, listener, just remember, you're not alone in this. Recovery's out there. If any of this resonated, don't wait. Reach out. Talk to a doctor, an addiction specialist, someone that can get you on the right track.